And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Before we do get into today's video, as always, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. So I hope you guys are all okay. Got a little bit of a different video for you this evening. And that's with regards to Kris Boyd, who's basically spoke out at Celtic and basically lauded them actually about their treatment of players and their development of players amid some different things happening across at Rangers. But I will discuss that in just a moment because we have an update on our away ticket allocation for our trip to Easter Road. So if you guys aren't aware, Celtic's away ticket allocation for the upcoming match at Easter Road has been reduced by 694 seats. A decision made by Hibernian in response to recent incidents of fan misbehaviour. The Edinburgh-based club announced earlier in March that they would be reducing the number of tickets available to away fans from both Glasgow clubs following a series of events involving pyrotechnics and offensive chanting at their stadium. This move comes after pressure from Hibs shareholders who had been calling for action against such behaviours. The club's board has taken a firm stance, condemning the abhorrent behaviour and chanting made by some supporters in Scottish football. They followed the lead of many other clubs around the country. There aren't many away grounds that Celtic visit and have the same number of travelling fans as they did a few years ago. Hibs will keep the near 4,000 allocation in place for the Edinburgh derbies. So, I want to know your thoughts on the situation, the fact that our ticket allocation for our away trip to Easter Road has been reduced by nearly 700, which is quite a lot, especially with the 4,000 normal allocation. So obviously a little bit frustrating. A small group of fans ruin it for the large majority of fans. It's of course not all the Celtic supporters, not all the Rangers supporters, I suppose. It's the little ones here and there causing the disruption. Pyrotechnics always been an issue with a lot of the groups across Scottish football. But the offensive chanting and stuff like that, it shouldn't really be condemned, to be fair. But as I mentioned, it's only a small margin of the fans, and of course it does ruin it for the rest of them. So really frustrating. My thoughts on that, but we know the reason behind it. Not really surprising. Just a little bit annoying for the fans that do want to travel and support their team every game they can, and now they may not be able to get a ticket due to it being reduced. But let's get into the other story of today's video. Something a little bit more positive, I suppose, but it's quite a funny story, to be fair. It's in regards to former Rangers striker Kris Boyd, who reckons Celtic Matt O'Reilly serves as an example of what Todd Cantwell could have achieved in Scotland had he presented a better attitude. So, after a lot of hype, personal proclamations on social media, and positive press, Cantwell is on his way out of Rangers after Philippe Clement revealed he had handed in his transfer request. So Campbell was said to be now training with the B team as he awaits an exit, calling time and a career in Scotland he claimed gave him a hunger for trophies greater than that of Callum McGregor. This gets better. Boyd, a usually pro-Rangers voice, has used his newspaper column to hammer the Ibrox attacking midfielder, comparing him to Celtic's excellent standout star O'Reilly. So the pundit also conceded Chris Sutton got it spot on regarding Cantwell after a public spat between the two figures over the last couple of years. On Twitter, obviously Chris Sutton and Todd Campbell went back and forth a few times, particularly after Derby Day wins on the Celtic side. And Cantwell doing a lot more talking than performing on the pitch at the time. So Boyd said, I hate to say it, but Chris Sutton, for one, got it bang on when he doubted Cantwell had the mentality to be a Rangers player. All Cantwell did was prove Sutty right. If Cantwell wants an example of what was there for him if he had done things differently, then he only has to take a look across the city. Matt O'Reilly signed for Celtic from MK Dons, and there was a spell when he wasn't playing regularly under Ange Postecoglou. But did he throw in the towel and ask away? Did he get his phone out and create some content? No, O'Reilly got his head down and he worked even harder behind the scenes and is now on the verge of a massive move to the continent. That could have been Cantwell, but he'll leave Rangers with the same mentality he arrived with and a career now on the slide. So Celtic's laser-focused winning mentality is one of the biggest differences between the boys and Rangers beyond talent. The squad are levels above on that from compared to what we see from Ibrox. The players don't do their talking or make their digs on social media until something has actually been achieved, and even then it's rare. So yeah, this is very, very true. We've seen it over the last few years, in particular, quite a lot of Rangers players that came in. Todd Cantwell was an example. I remember Fashion Sakala said something before as well, before a game, and it kind of bit him in the arse because they lost the match. They do a lot of talking over there before the game's even kicked on. And when they ultimately lose the match, even Celtic players don't really fight at the chance to, have a go at them on social media either. We're a lot more professional and not trying to play up for the cameras, not trying to be, in Todd Cantwell's case, a social media influencer. So over the last decade, our managers have, for the most part, brought players to the club with the right resolve, self-discipline, and winning cutting edge to shine within the pressurised situation of football in Glasgow. Campbell is an example of how it can go very, very wrong, and the comparison to O'Reilly is apt. He's the ultimate professional and heading for the top. So even, Matt O'Reilly's moved away from Celtic. It's pretty inevitable, this transfer window, but one thing no Celtic fan can say is his attitude's been bad. He's been the most professional player I've ever seen in terms of so much noise around him. The guy's performing like against Manchester City, against Chelsea. He's done superb so far in this pre-season tour of the USA, and that's with like 6-7 teams interested in him. His head could easily be turned, but no, he's so focused on his football. He's so focused on his current mission, which is at Celtic, and hats off to him. And there's a bit of a stark contrast to that. Todd Campbell was now handed his transfer request at Rangers. Look, Todd Campbell many years ago, I remember this boy was linked to Arsenal. Like when Unai Emery was there, he was at Norwich City, really good young player, a lot of potential, but again, his attitude just let him down. And that's what you see now with him at Rangers. And the only comparison you can make to Matt O'Reilly is to look at the massive contrast in what professionals they are, because Matt O'Reilly, as I said, has been really, really professional for this whole deal with the transfer situation. So even if he does leave Celtic, he leaves Celtic, with a lot of Celtic fans having high praise for him, because he kind of gave it his all to the very end of his Celtic career. But look, that transfer is still ongoing with Matt O'Reilly, but I thought it was quite interesting now Kris Boyd basically spoke out about it and used O'Reilly as a comparison to that of Campbell, just to look at the stark contrast and difference of professionality when it comes to both players. But yes, it was quite a funny story. I was like thinking about Campbell over the last few years, him being at Rangers, a lot of talking, but not much showing on the pitch whatsoever. And his career is very much on the downward spiral now. So, so I suppose see what he gets up to after Rangers, but nothing too high for him in my hopes. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video, guys. I want to know your thoughts on the mainly the ticket away allocation actually for this Easter road trip as well, because it was a little bit frustrating, as I mentioned, but not surprising, I guess. And with this whole Kris Boyd kind of Lauds Celtic and our professionalism and slagging off Todd Cantwell, let me know your thoughts on that as well down below. That does bring us to the end of today's video, guys. As always, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.